it's Maria Solitary Witch Tracks here. This is my late video for week 5 of the YouTube Pagan Challenge, and I'll be uploading week 6 very soon since week 7 is almost upon us. But if I remember correctly, the challenge for week 5 is, what does this time of year mean to us? As of right now, we just had Imbolc. I celebrated that. I think I mentioned that in my last video, how I celebrated it. And so right now, the weather, I live in the state of Virginia, and if you don't know anything about Virginia weather, it's very flippy-floppy all over the place. Like, one Sunday we had, it was like 70 degrees, and then all of a sudden we had a horrible snowstorm, and I was snowed in my house for 2 days. So that just goes to show you what the weather's like. So right now, this time of year for me is all about transitioning, getting ready to come out of my my shell, come out of my vision, which has been pushed inwards. Excuse me. Let me mute my computer real quick before any more notifications pop up. Okay. But I think it's like right now, transitioning from the winter, I have this inward vision. So during the winter time, we work on looking inwardly inside of ourselves to reflect on the things that we need or we don't need, sort of like working with the shadow self and recognizing things in our lives that we've been putting off or we don't want to recognize. And so this time of year is really focusing, on starting to shed those things. Because, at least for me, with the tumultuous weather, it's kind of like a physical, outwardly representation of what goes inside psychologically. When you start to shed those things you don't want, it doesn't feel comfortable at all. You don't want to do this because you've been clinging on to these things for so long, but you have to let go of them because you done all this inner reflective work, all this inward gazing during the winter time that you need to get rid of this stuff. And so it's like an inner battle of keeping it or letting it go, but in the end, you have to let it go no matter how much you struggle, but you still struggle anyways because it's not comfortable. So that's what this time of year means to me, especially after Imbolc, because Imbolc is kind of like, let me hand gestures. Imbolc is kind of like, when everything's popping out of the ground, starting to bud, it's that, it kind of gives you that little push, okay, you got this little seed inside of you that's about to grow, but you gotta make room for this little seed to grow, so you gotta get rid of all this other junk. And so that's what Imbolc brings about for me in this time of the year. And so I am currently working on trying to not fight this very inevitable thing that's going to happen every year in my life, and trying to really focus on reflecting how to get rid of these things, what's the best way to get rid of these things, and also at the same time learning to bring stuff in so when the weather gets warm, as the wheel turns, I can fully blossom into all this I've worked on. So for 6 months of the cold? So all this months and months of work I've been doing on my spirituality, on whether it's physical, spiritual, mental, just all these months of preparation and work, so I can finally, blossom into a pretty flower and be like, I've done all this work, I'll bask in my glory kind of thing, but not really, but something so you can share. You can share your journey, share all this hard work with others, and you can connect to others that way because other people have also gone through this, whether they didn't know it or not. I think it's a very intuitive part of the human psyche to have our spiritual mental self go along with the wheel turning and go along with the changing of the seasons. And so it's easier to connect to, I find it easier to connect to people in summertime, things like that, because there's so many things that can hold us back in the wintertime, and rightfully so, because we're going through this inner reflective time. People get seasonal affective disorder, and that doesn't really want to make you interact with people, and people get depression and things like this around this time of year, and so also it does not make you want to interact with people. But as when the sun comes out more, it gets warmer and brighter, you're just happier. and you want to be around people more, you want to connect to people more, you want to go out in nature more, all the things. It's because you have shed all this gunk, and now you're all free, and you feel light, and you feel good, and you want to share this with other people, and you want to connect with other people who've also gone through the same thing. And so that's what this part of the season means for me. It means, slowly taking things in and taking things out, or like, I guess best way to put it is like slowly letting go of things and taking things in while I'm letting these things go, because it's very transitional. It's like a dance. Woo! But exactly, so that is what this part of the year means to me. That's what makes the most sense for me, because that's how I've been connecting to this part of the year in my practice ever since I started. I don't know how many years ago, a long time ago. So yeah, and that makes sense, right? You let go of these things, and having this Virginia weather really helps, because, like I said, one day we had like really warm weather, next day snowstorms, or you'll wake up with frost or sleet on your car, and then that afternoon it'll all melt away and it'll be really hot, and you're like, what the hell happened? Like, or during the day it'll be really warm, and that night it gets down to 20, and you're like, ah! And so, like, this weather is so tumultuous, and it's going to continue being so, I think, until like mid-April. So I have until mid-April to really get my shit together, because like March it gets really windy, and it'll get warm and windy and rainy, and April's like rains, and that's like the cleansing, I feel like. So yeah, like April is like the cleansing after all this hard work. When, like in yoga, take Shavasana, you're like, ah, and you reflect and you reap what you have sowed, and then in spring, then later on April and May, June, July, you're all like, yeah, this feels great. So I don't know, I think it's really interesting. There's only like a short amount of time, like the warmer weather, that you can like fully express, and then you have to do all this inner work for like months of time, because it's all cold and nasty outside. But yes, so this is what this part of the year means to me. I hope it makes sense to anyone who's watching this. It makes sense to me, so I hope it makes sense to you. But I love watching all your videos, and I love this challenge, so thank you for everyone who's doing this challenge. Thank you for Annika for making up this challenge, and everyone just be awesome. Yeah. Alright, namaste.